Hello everyone, my name is Corazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. We are back in the world on this late January day. It is very cold out, but we are pretty toasty. We're a little lower than usual, but our clothing is keeping us warm, as is standing by these fires, so it'll get us up to our full temperature in no time. I have been quite busy in between episodes. As promised, I spent a good amount of time doing a number of things. First, I went back to our friend Axe down in Tin territory, where I bought his black bronze spears because we only have the one ingot, and I want 3 black bronze spears, for reasons. Maybe we should call him Spear instead of Axe, I don't know. On the way back, I checked on our growling pit, and yep, it is still growling. And when I got home, I set about making a bunch of bismuth bronze tools and ingots, and I'm currently working on some tin bronze tools. And I also went ahead and did a little bit of clay forming because this nails and strips mold is working wonders, and I figured we should be able to do more than 4 at a time. Let's go for 16. And that's about where we're at here. I'm actually firing up a bunch of that tin bronze right now, and it should be ready here shortly. Our molds for the nails are still here, nails and strips. And today I wanted to address an issue. A couple of you pointed out in the comments that our house here isn't sealed. And the way that I know that now is that I finally upgraded my version of the simple HUD Clock mod to the latest version. And up here, there's a little area for icons now. Let's go downstairs. I'm going to plug this hole. It's very dark. And we're going to stand here. Now, do you see how that turned into like a little jar icon with like a fruit and a vegetable in it? That's because this is a cellar. And apparently there's another icon that could show, but is not showing up here, specifically because we do not have a room. It's a room indicator. And I forgot, this actually came out last season, but these roof blocks actually don't insulate. And I forgot. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add... thank you guys for both adding up there. But we're going to go ahead and we are going to add some more blocks in here so that we can actually seal our house up. I'm thinking we will just drop these trunks here and there. And what I'm going to do is I am going to keep using some shingles, but... Ooh, but. You know what? Do we have any more maple logs on us? Ooh, we have 4. Not quite enough. Okay, that's fine. We're going to make a few slabs. And we're also going to make a few stairs, if I can figure out how to do those. There we go. And we need, let's see, 1428. And we are just going to place these upside down stairs, like so. And that should seal our house up. Well, now it says that we have a cellar. I'm not sure we're actually in a cellar right now because we do have windows that's letting light in. Anyway, today I want to address a couple things that I've been trying to work toward, but haven't had a chance to yet, because we've been busy with other things. And one is that our leather here is kind of stalled, because if you look in here, we don't have any more lime. Now, I do need to make an admission. I did a while ago, for this second set of leather we're doing here, I maybe kind of ground up some marble stones, but don't tell anyone, okay? It's just a maybe, just a maybe. But I only did like a dozen or so, or if I did, I only did a dozen or so. So not a ton, not a huge waste, but it did let us get our leather working going on. But it struck me, I've been sitting here and mainly grinding these by hand, just putting things in the Quern inventory and holding down right click. And it takes a while, even for a small amount of work, or a small amount of output. And we need to be grinding grains, we need to be grinding a lot of limestone, or not marble, definitely not marble, I would never ever do that. Nope, not me. And I don't want to have to sit here off camera and just hold down right click while I watch, Netflix or YouTube or whatever. So I was thinking, what if we go ahead and get a little bit of automation going on? Because that's something we haven't really touched on yet. And I've been saving up all of this linen for so long. And I figure, you know what? Let's go put it to use. It's just sitting here in a chest doing nothing useful. So I was thinking, what if we were to add a little windmill on our house? Probably not right here, that's kind of low to the ground, but what if we built like a little tower to put a small windmill on? It probably wouldn't be a full set of sails, because for just one quern, you don't need a ton of power. But I think it would be really cool to have a little windmill here, have a quern somewhere in the house, and not have to sit here and just AFK grind for, hours and hours. That is the plan, and I think that after our smelting here is done, we should go ahead and get right to it. Oh, but there is one more thing that I forgot to mention that someone pointed out in the comments, is that when we were talking about winterizing our house here, I mentioned that you want rooms to be no larger than 7 by 7 by 7. However, that's actually not true. And I don't know if this was the case forever or if it was changed at some point, but the room maximum size is actually 14 by 14 by 14. We could have made a much larger house, although I'm glad I didn't because we don't really have the materials to, or didn't at the time. Now that we have a pickaxe, we have all the materials we could ever want, but, And that's probably why this little icon here shows the seller icon and not like a little house icon, which I have heard is the case when you're in a house room. Now, this actually kind of drastically changes my plans for the future because I've kind of been sketching out some ideas for what to build as far as our long-term forever home, and I was limiting myself to 7 by 7 by 7 rooms. But now that I know that isn't the case, I'm kind of rethinking and revisiting a lot of the designs I had, because I did want to keep within the room spec. So, yep, that's the thing. That happened. Anyway, I'm going to let these finish. I'm going to pour these guys out in just about 2 seconds, and then once that's all said and done, we will set about talking about what we're going to do with this windmill, how to build it, how to get the materials for it, and how to grind with it. Not necessarily all in that order. With that being said, let's get to it. Alright, so wind power. How do we get into this? Well, luckily, I think we have everything that we actually need. We need a decent amount of hardwood, and we have plenty of birch here. We need a bit of fat. We need a bit of resin. Here we go. And we need some linen. And that's good enough to get us started. There are more advanced features we can add to our system here eventually, but probably not in this house. It's a bit small. But to get started with just automating this quern, that should be all we need. Now, what I'm thinking here is I want to add a tower coming off of our roof, and then we'll put a smallish windmill on that tower, and then we will run our axle down into probably here somewhere, and have our quern sitting somewhere that's out of reach or out of the way, but that we can actually access and put things in and take our goods out. I am thinking of putting our windmill up here, although I could do it over here too. Ooh, don't like that sound. I'm thinking over here, because that way it'll just sort of be a bit more balanced. In this game, the wind direction doesn't actually matter as far as windmills are concerned. So I think we're going to have to, unfortunately, move our beautiful painting here, and maybe we'll just put it... Let's put the painting here above the spears, and we are going to have to move this trunk, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and probably just move it to... you know what, we'll just move this stuff down to here. Okay, with that all emptied, and a night passed to get rid of the noisy investigative drifters outside our doors, we now have a little space here where I could probably put this up there. I'm thinking we'll have our windmill up there. We'll have a shaft that comes down and just directly drives our quern. So what I'm thinking, though, is let's go ahead and build us a little tower, probably out of chert. Yeah, we'll do the chert. I think it'll look nice along with the other chert out here. But also, I just think chert and sandstone go together really well. And then I also want to put a little bit of a roof on it. not much of one, which is good because we're getting kind of low on these. We also need a little centerpiece. And you know what? We'll just use you. It's not perfect, but it'll be perfect for what we're doing with it. So let's go ahead and we're going to drill up here with a pickaxe because we can now mine through our ceiling faster. And we're going to go ahead and put up a little bit of a tower here. Yeah, there we go. And you know what? We'll get a little bit more of this going on. Wait, really? It has snow on it? It's goofy. I think that's a bug. But let's go ahead and we're going to put some full blocks here. Probably just those 3 locations. And then from here, we'll go ahead and we will do a more slender tower, a bit more graceful one, the rest of the way. Now, what I'm thinking is we're going to have a windmill that's going to have blades that are 3 blocks long. When you build a windmill, you have an option. Well, 5 options, really. You can build your windmill with blades that are up to 5 blocks long. However, that also means that you need to consider whether or not they will collide with anything. Because if they do, well, they're going to break and fall off. So we have 1 and 2 here. Let's go ahead and... I can't even build anything up here. There we go. So at minimum, this is where we will have our windmill pop out here. And I want to have it facing that direction. I'm going to fall down again because that's what I do, apparently. And then that means we can have 3 more slabs in this direction. And you know what? We might turn this one into a staircase. There we go. Now, the reason that we're building this high off the ground and not putting it just off the edge of our roof, which we could do. We could come down here, and we could just drill a hole right through here and have our windmill sitting right here. However, wind speed is a thing in this game. As you can see up here, it says wind calm. So right now, we actually wouldn't even have a spinning windmill. It wouldn't be doing anything because there's no wind, which makes sense, right? However, as the wind picks up speed, it will begin to blow our windmill. But there is a mechanic where the higher up your windmill is, it gets an increasing bonus to the wind speed. To get a bonus, you take your world sea level, which defaults to 110, and then add 10%, so you're at 121 in our case. For every block above that, our windmill would get a 1% bonus to wind speed, up to a total of 50% at Y171. Keep in mind that this bonus is multiplicative, so if there is no wind, well, 0 times 1.5 is still 0. So we could build a super tall tower and get a huge bonus to wind speed. However, that would look silly, so we're not going to do that. We are going to put our windmill sort of as high as it can go without looking too silly, and I think we're right about at that limit here. So yes, I think this will be a perfect spot for our little windmill. Now, in order to actually build this thing, we're going to need some components. We are, of course, going to need some windmills, which means we need some sails, and that means some linen. We also, as I mentioned, we're going to need some wood for things like axles and gears and so on, because they are wooden axles and gears, not metal. And then we also need some fat to lubricate things, and some resin to make things stick together a bit more. We'll probably also need a smattering of sticks, so I'm going to go ahead and fill us out on sticks a bit. And I think that should be about all that we need. So let's go in here and we're going to look at the windmill rotor. So we have here the windmill rotor. We're going to need a hammer, a chisel, 2 logs of any sort actually, a piece of resin, and a lump of fat. So we have all of that. Let's go ahead and do the thing. Where we put things in our inventory, and then remember that we didn't actually grab the chisel or the hammer. Classic Corazar. Classic. Let's go ahead and drop this in here. Drop you 2 here. Do we perhaps need a hammer with more durability? Ah, we do. Okay, wow. So this is going to take... Wow. So this takes 80 durability off of your hammer. So if your hammer is under 80 durability, you're kind of out of luck. So we have our rotor, and we'll get to our sails in a minute, because the sails I kind of like to put on last. But next we need a method of moving the power from the back of this rotor down this shaft. And that's going to be axles. And axles are a bit simpler to make, but I want to just measure. We're going to need, I'm thinking 7 axles, but they're made in pairs of 2. So we'll go ahead and we'll make 8. And axles are made like this. So same thing, just hammer, chisel, but rather than resin, you just use the fat. And it only requires 1 log. Here we go. And that only uses, I think, 4 durability. 61 down to 56, so 5 durability, okay. There we go. 8 axles. And now we're also going to need to be able to translate this power, because this windmill is going to be spinning on this axis. So its axles are going to point out this direction. We need it to come down. So we need an angled gear, and those are made with some expensive parts. Right here. We need a saw too. Oh boy. Saw, and hammer, and chisel, and stick, and resin, and wood, and fat. And there we have angled gear, and this is going to take 10 durability from a hammer, so beware. Okay, well, I think we're ready to put our windmill in place. Let's get up here, and we are going to first drop an axle right here, because we can't put our rotor right here, because otherwise, if we did, then all the blades would come in contact with this upside down staircase we're on, and they would all snap and be useless. Oh, we need to get out of the way, unfortunately. Let's just build some scaffolding here. There we go. Okay, now we want some windmill sails, and these are made in a grouping. So you get 4 sails per build, but each sail set, 1 does not stack, and 2 turns into a 1 block long sail. So we're going to do 3 of these. And we cannot add more sails because we need more room to rotate freely. Well, I thought... Interesting, okay. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to move this whole tower up 1 block taller, because I do want that 3rd sail in here to power our quern. Okay, tower is now 1 block taller. Let's try this again. I'm going to go ahead and get this in here. And we're going to... There we go. 1, and 2, and 3. There we go. And that might be overkill, but whatever. There is no kill like overkill. Now, let's go ahead and get our little roof on here. I want to cover this bad boy up. So we got this, and a bit of that. And these corner roofs, do note that when you're placing them, they always face with their flat sides going north and east compared to where you are facing. So they will always face to your forward and to your right. So like that, and then like that, like that, and like that. Oh, if I can get on the right block. There we go. So just so you're aware. And now let's get down here. We're going to clean up this scaffolding here. We don't really need it anymore. And we'll get back up in there from inside. Actually, before we do, I'm going to go ahead and put our roof peak on. I'm going to set it this way for grins and giggles. There we go. Now we'll get back up there from inside. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to move our ladders, and we're going to put our angled gear right there. Now, what will happen is when we attach an axle next to it, it will automatically get, and you can't really see it from here, but it will automatically gain an extra bit of angled gear piece. I don't know if you can see that sort of spinning by up there. So this is connected. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to run this down to here. Actually, I want to do one more. So let's get our fat back out. And there we go. So now we can build ourselves a little platform like so. We'll just tuck this right there. We can pick up our quern and we can tuck this right up there. And there it goes. And of course, it's going to be noisy. So you know what? Okay, well, we're going to be moving and replacing this quern every time we want to use it, because that is very loud. And we don't need that in our ears while we're trying to sleep here. Now, the reason we have it up on a slab here is that querns are kind of goofy in that although they look like they are full-size blocks, they are actually not. And they are affected by gravity. So, if they don't have a floor, they will fall until they find one. And anvils do the same thing. So make sure you keep your querns up on a ledge. And we're going to keep ours, well, here for now. I will take you down when I'm done with you. But using it is as simple as taking whatever it is you want to grind down. In this case, I'm going to do this sulfur. And we're just going to chuck this sulfur right in here. And we're going to watch it go. And like that, we do not need to sit there and do anything. We can just look at the pretty particles and breathe in the yummy sulfur scent. And as we wait, it turns into powdered sulfur. And this is true for whatever we put in there, whether it is grains, whether it is sulfur, whether it is lime, whether it is cinnabar, which is great for your lungs. It all gets ground down automatically. Now, there are some considerations to think about here. One is you can further automate this. Now, we don't have the space for it, but the quern can be powered from below as well, in which case the axle becomes the floor for the quern to sit on. When you do that, it lets you use a chute with a chest on it from the top to feed items into the quern. And what that will do is when the quern is then full, it will actually spit its products out the sides, rather than trying to put them in here or just stalling. Now, that can be an issue, because if you don't have a way to collect it quickly, then those products will despawn eventually. Now, most people will put a bunch of hoppers, made of copper hoppers, around the quern to catch these things, but you still don't want to load up your quern or the chest above it and go for a long walk to the point where this unloads, because the timers still run. So the quern will still produce items while you're away. They will still fall, but the hoppers won't pick them up for some reason, and they will just despawn. So make sure if you're using your quern that you are going to be around your base and actually, having this loaded in. Otherwise, you'll be in for a very, very sad surprise. Now, we are going to get a ton of use out of this automated quern, but for today, the main thing I wanted to use it for was grinding limestone down into lime. So I think we should go and check out the place where we know there is limestone, which is by this translocator. We have an entire limestone area right up in here, and it looks like it extends pretty far to the northeast. Now, we're not going to go that far. We're just going to hang around our translocator, but since we're going this way, I figured we may as well take along some temporal gears and some metal parts and see about fixing it up. So I'm going to go ahead and make us a fresh pot of soup, and then grab my pickaxes, and we'll hit the road. Alright, soup pot acquired. I don't recall if we already fixed up the translocator with metal parts back then, but just in case we didn't, I've got that, and I am going to bring along... We'll bring along 2 pickaxes, just in case we find something interesting that we want to dig around for. And with that, let's be off to our translocator. Ooh, that's the sound of a bear. He is chasing rabbits right now. Whew, that gave me quite a scare. Looks like he is largely gone. Whew. Here is our little place down here. Let's sneak our way down. And I am going to drop a torch. Ah, we did repair it a little bit. And we did take some stuff, looks like. Alright, well let's go ahead and I'm going to take a bit of a tippy-tap here first and find out what kind of yummy ores are in the area. We have sphalerite, lignite, hematite, and then a wee bit of some other stuff, so that's good to know. Anything in the immediate area here? Not there. And I'm going to guess probably not down here either. Nope, that's okay. Okay, well, we didn't need these guys. So let's go ahead and... Do I want to activate you first and see where you go, or do I want to get some limestone? I think we want to go through you first. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. And we're going to throw down you and you and give you just a second. Alright, there we go. And let's go ahead and we're going to get our... So we'll get our shield on our bar here. And let's head on through. Okay, we are somewhere. We're somewhere reasonably deep, too. Also, mostly safe at the moment. What's out here? Anything? We have a long cave. And we're turning right back around. I hear lava, too. Alright, we'll just seal that back up. And let's see what kind of goodies are in here for us. We have junk metal, of course. We have crates galore, as usual. Let's get this crate, too. Ooh, we have Through the Grass at Night. Oh wow, that's a pretty decent haul there. We have some gears. Yeah, it's not so bad, actually. Despite the, you know, immediate growls the other direction. And another painting. Another Howl painting, of course. Okay, I can't quite... There we go, get you. Looks like we have... Ooh, here we go, a trader. Ooh, we have a village. Oh, we have to check this out. That's going to be a next episode thing. We have ruins. We have all sorts of good things to check out here. That's exciting. Okay, let's go ahead and eat something. And we're going to probably throw these out. Of course, I'll pick those back up in a second. Let's bring back as much of this as we can. And then we can get these as well. Alright. Cool. Well, I think we will come back here later. And we will explore through here in a later episode. And for now, let's go back home. Well, home, relatively speaking. We're going to grab some limestone. And then we're going to head home and toss it in the quern. So here we are at the limestone. I think we'll just go ahead and we'll mine in this direction over here. It's about as high as I think we want to mine. Then we're going to go ahead and stone this as much as we can, just to try to keep any more creepy crawlies from spawning down here. I'm going to go ahead and get, well, I'll max ourselves out here with what we can carry, and then I'll meet all of you back at home. Okay, so I kind of lied about seeing you all at home because I wanted to bring you back just to take a look at this view. Look at that. We can see our home all the way from up on this ridge. It's well lit. The windmill is spinning. We can just barely make out part of our barn over there. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous game and a gorgeous world. Let's get our light back out though. And yeah, that is a sight to behold. There's something about coming home in the night or in the late evening and you're on the lookout for bears and wolves. You're not sure if you're going to make it, or at least make it unaccosted. And then you see your home, and that sort of just relaxes you. Even if you have drifters trailing you or wolves on your tail. I mean, sure, you might sort of run inside panicked, but hey, I'll take it, right? It's relaxing, in a way. Anyway, we are home safe. We have some extra stuff, including 3 more candles, which is nothing to sneeze at. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop our quern back up here so it can be noisy again. And we're going to fill it with some limestone. And we're going to get some lime out of this. And boy, does that make me happy. I am ready to move on with some more leather working because I think it's high time for us to upgrade from our linen sacks to some real backpacks, and just to get those last 4 inventory slots. This will also help us as we start to get into thinking about what we're going to do for our long-term home, especially when we get into making things like plaster and bricks, because we're going to need a lot of ground-up lime for both of those things, and I don't want to do it all by hand. So, yeah, we did that in the first season, and I'm not doing it again. Nope, no siree. Anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you learned something about how to set up a basic windmill, making sure that you have enough space for it, and that there is enough wind, and it's high enough, and that you have all the right connections to your machines. There are 2 more machines in the game that we can hook up to a windmill, but we aren't quite ready for either of those yet, mostly because of space reasons, but also because of material reasons. So, yeah, we need a lot more resin to get that going, and I might actually go and spend some gears at our commodities trader to acquire more resin because our pine is really slow and kind of scattered. There is actually a pine forest up in here that I noticed as I was passing by on our way home, and I thought that maybe we could adventure through here a little bit at some point and see if we can find resin. Or were you over here? It might have been here. But we can take a look up here. If there's enough pine up here to make it worthwhile, we can go through, and I'll show you a technique for identifying and much more easily finding trees with resin when you come back again and again. That might happen in the next episode, or it might happen later. I'm not quite decided yet. And the reason is that I am getting kind of close to wanting to start building our final home. And when we do, I will reveal what that style is going to be, as well as a bit of roleplay about us. But I'll give you a little hint. We are going to be a people that are normally regarded as small and not very adventurous. And we are going to break that mold because of who we are. Stretch! My shoulders, I swear, are connected to my ears, not my torso. Whatever. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, my name has been Quern. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.